Hi, folks. This is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards, and I'm excited to be talking to you today in this segment about the answer to this question. Is it time to convert? No, I am not talking about a religious conversion. I am talking about a tax conversion. And the reason I'm talking about this is because taxes are one of the 5 critical areas for which you must have a written plan in order to get retired and stay retired. We call it achieving financial independence. And in addition to a written risk management plan, a written plan if somebody becomes chronically ill, a written plan to make sure you never run out of money before you run out of life, that's called an income plan, a written estate plan so that when you pass on, you don't leave all your money to the government. Well, we've also got to have a written tax plan, right? Because do you really want to leave everything you have to the government and to nursing homes and hospitals, right? Wouldn't it be better to keep that money in the family or to put it towards the causes that are so important to you? Well, many of us have a partner in our investments, our 401ks, our 403bs, our IRAs, our 457 plans, and on it goes, are all tax deferred. What that means is if you leave money in those accounts at the end of life, you're going to have a tax time bomb waiting for your heirs. They're going to have to get that money out of there within 10 years. And often it's going to be placed at the top income brackets because it's being placed above their own personal income tax bracket. And guess what? Most heirs are not patient enough. They should be, but they're not, to take that money gradually enough over time to try to keep it in at least the moderate brackets. Most heirs will pay off a mortgage, student loan debt, give it to the family, or take a big vacation. And that means it goes whoop, right up to the top of the brackets. And what you work so hard to save has now wound up in the hands of the government. Instead of building a hospital wing, you're building a wing on a jet. So since the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed several years ago, we had a window of opportunity to take money that is currently tax deferred and therefore forever taxed and turn it into money that is never again taxed. That's a short and closing window. At the end of 2025, we're going to drop back to our old tax rates. And let me tell you, there was a dramatic difference after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in what the average American paid in taxes. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're doing really well, really well, and you're earning $300,000 as a couple. That would be wonderful, right? Some of you are there, some of you are above it, some of you are well below it, but it's just an illustration, picking out one bracket. Prior to the passage of the act, that top bracket for you was 33%. Whether that's fair or not, that's not for me to judge. After the passage of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, your top bracket was 24%. That is a huge change in your tax situation. And it really applies to every single bracket. The only bracket that really didn't get changed a whole lot was the bottom bracket, 0 to 18,650, 10%. Okay, it was changed to 0 to 19,050. So it was really a tax cut for those in the 15, 25, 28, 33, and 35% bracket. Okay, so you say, well, what are we going to do? Well, I don't know about you, but when things are on sale, that's when I'm looking, right? When things are at their top price, like houses are right now, I'm not looking. But when taxes are on sale, I'm looking. We also got a standard deduction of $24,000 at the time, since grown, per married filing household. Okay, taxpayers that file jointly as married almost doubled their deduction. Huge benefits. Again, phasing out after 2025. What do we do, Colin? We take the money and we change it from tax deferred to tax free. Now, the key is there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay between those 2 points. So let's talk first of all about paying some taxes today at the lower rates and shifting that money into a tax-free account so that in the future when those rates are higher, you or your family are not victimized. Let's talk about some of the benefits of doing that. Number one, whenever you take money out, if you need to touch that money, you don't have to worry about the effect on your income taxes for that year. right? So let's say we use a Roth IRA and we convert some of your IRA to a Roth. Now you can take that money out tax-free. That's the biggest benefit. If you're over 59 and a half, you get immediate access to your funds tax-free with no penalties, okay? If you're over 59 and a half, tax-free with no penalties. And guess what? Here's one that really rots a lot of people's socks. At 72, the government forces you to pull money out of your IRA even if you didn't need it. Maybe you didn't want to. They're forcing you to do it. But in a Roth IRA and other tax-free vehicles, you got freedom of choice. How about a tax-free inheritance to your family, right? Now, you may want to spend it all, but we do want to make sure that whatever is left behind doesn't get taxed. And then you are immunized, finally, against future tax law changes. Wouldn't it be nice? Be able to sit back, put your hands behind your head, put your feet up, and not care at all if the government changes future tax rates. That would be a nice place to be. You've got basically two strategies that I'm going to discuss. Number one, a Roth IRA. Been around for a long time. You can take your IRA and you can convert it. Okay, this is great, especially if currently you really haven't been able to contribute much to your Roth in the past, maybe because of your earning level. Now, especially if you're retired, it might be a great time. The key is you got to time it. You got to time a Roth IRA conversion to make sure you don't do the exact thing you're trying to avoid, which is pay a higher tax rate, right? So if you take too much out at the wrong time, you might be bumping back up against those high tax brackets. Do you really want to be in a 35 or a 32% tax bracket? Probably not. So next time we get together in a future session, I'm going to talk about another tax strategy. It's Title 26 of our tax code, and it is an amazing opportunity whether you're retired or still working. But you know what? It's going to start with a conversation about your need for a comprehensive financial plan. That's what we do at Lord & Richards. We build you a plan so you can retire without worry and do amazing things with the resources that God has entrusted to you. It really just begins with a very simple conversation with me and my team.